Fabled Heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The first time I saw him, the forest seemed to hold its breath. Moonlight filtered through the canopy, turning the silver ferns into trembling veins of light. He stumbled through them, armor clanking like distant thunder, a dark silhouette against the pale sky. His face was not beautiful, sharp cheekbones, skin as pale as moonlit stone stretched over strong bone, but something in his storm-gray eyes pulled me in like a moth to flame. I am Lauren, a shapeshifter of the night, my claws hidden beneath soft fur, my heart forever wary of strangers. The metallic tang of his blood mingled with a warm, musky scent that rose from the moss and the earth, and it made my pulse quicken. He fell hard onto the moss, a groan escaping his lips, human, vulnerable, broken. Instinct screamed warning, but curiosity, that dangerous guest, settled in my chest. I approached, each step deliberate, the forest floor muffling my pads. My ears caught the faint rustle of his breathing, the uneven rhythm of a wounded man. His armor was scarred, etched with symbols I did not recognize, each mark a story of battles I could only guess at. Yet his eyes, storm clouds flecked with silver, locked onto mine, stealing my breath and holding it hostage. "Lauren," he rasped, his voice raw, his name hanging between us like a promise. Heat blossomed low in my belly, a strange, intoxicating fire that threatened to melt the ice I kept around my heart. I could have ended him with a single swipe, my claws slicing through steel and flesh alike, but something deeper urged me to stay. I felt the pull of his pain, the echo of his fear, and a strange tenderness that I had never allowed myself to feel. He lifted a trembling hand, the blade still slick with his own blood, and brushed it against my cheek. The chill of steel met the heat of my skin, sending a shiver that was half fear, half longing. The metal left a thin line of crimson on my fur, a reminder that I was not merely a predator tonight. "You think you can claim me," I whispered, my voice barely more than a sigh, the words slipping out like smoke. He smiled, a dangerous curve of his lips that revealed a flash of white teeth. "I already have," he said, and in that moment the forest seemed to fade, leaving only the taste of copper, the scent of dark honey, and the promise of a love forged in fire and blood. We lay together on the moss, the world reduced to the rhythm of our breathing. The night air wrapped around us, cool against his heated skin, warm against my fur. I could feel the tremor in his chest, the way his heart hammered against his ribs, and I understood that he was as broken as I was. "My name is Kale," he said after a long silence, his voice hoarse. "I was sent to retrieve a relic hidden in these woods. I never expected to find this." I tilted my head, the moonlight catching the silver flecks in my eyes. "You think the relic is worth dying for?" I asked, the question more a challenge than curiosity. He winced as he shifted, the pain in his side flaring. "It is not the relic I seek now," he whispered, his fingers tracing the scar on his forearm. "It is you." A laugh, low and bitter, escaped me. "You speak of love as if it were a weapon. I have never known love, Kale. I have only known the hunt, the night, the endless cycle of predator and prey." He reached out, his hand trembling, and pressed his forehead against mine. The heat of his skin seeped into my fur, and for a moment I felt the world tilt. The forest around us seemed to pulse, the leaves rustling as if in approval. "Then let me teach you," he murmured. "Let me show you that there is more than the hunt." The night deepened, and with it the intimacy of our shared silence. I felt his breath on my neck, the scent of pine and blood mingling, and I realized that the fear that had once anchored me was loosening. My claws, once poised to strike, rested gently against his chest, feeling the rise and fall of his heart. "What do you want from me?" I asked, the question raw and honest. He smiled again, softer this time, eyes reflecting the moon's glow. "I want you to stay, to be my companion in the darkness, to share the weight of my sins and perhaps to love me despite the blood that stains my hands." A tear, warm and salty, slipped down my cheek, catching the moonlight. I had never allowed myself to be vulnerable, never let another see the softness beneath my fur. Yet here, in the cradle of the ancient forest, I felt a strange courage rise. "If I stay," I said, my voice steadier than I felt, "you must promise to protect me, not just from the world, but from the darkness that lives inside you." He placed his hand over my heart, feeling the steady thrum of my own life. "I promise," he whispered, and the words felt like a vow etched into the bark of the trees. The night stretched on, and we spoke of past wounds, of battles fought in distant kingdoms, of the weight of crowns and curses. He told me of a war that had torn his kingdom apart, of a queen who had betrayed him, of a blade that had cut more than flesh. I told him of the moon's cycles, of the way my kind shifts with the tides, of the loneliness that comes with living between worlds. Every story we shared wove us tighter together, a tapestry of scars and hopes. The forest seemed to listen, the wind humming a soft lullaby, the owls hooting in distant approval. When dawn threatened to break, the first pale fingers of sunrise slipping through the canopy, we lay still, bodies entwined, hearts beating in a rhythm that felt like a promise. "We cannot stay here forever," Kale said, his voice tinged with both resolve and sorrow. "The relic hunters will come, and the kingdom will not forget my betrayal." I lifted my head, ears pricking at the distant call of a hawk. "Then we move," I replied, my tone firm. "We find a place where the forest can hide us, where the blood of your past cannot reach us." He nodded, his eyes softening. "And you, will you walk with me, Lauren, not as a hunter, but as something more?" I felt the weight of his question settle like a stone in my chest. I thought of the countless nights I had spent alone, the endless chase, the cold moon that never warmed. I thought of the fire that now burned within me, sparked by his presence. "Yes," I said, the word tasting like honey on my tongue. "I will walk with you." We rose together, the moss parting beneath our feet. The forest seemed to part for us, branches bending, leaves rustling in a silent applause. As we stepped out of the clearing, the world beyond the trees felt both terrifying and exhilarating. The journey ahead would be fraught with danger, hunters, warlords, ancient curses, but for the first time in centuries, I felt a flicker of hope. The night no longer felt like a cage, it felt like a veil we could lift together. We traveled through tangled underbrush, across crystal streams that sang of forgotten magic. Kale taught me how to read the symbols on his armor, each rune a fragment of a spell meant to protect. I taught him how to listen to the wind, how to feel the heartbeat of the earth beneath his boots. One night, as we camped beneath a canopy of stars, he took my hand and pressed a small, tarnished amulet against my palm. "This belonged to my mother," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "She believed love could break any curse. I give it to you as a token of my trust." I felt the cool metal against my skin, the faint engraving of a phoenix rising from flames. I slipped it into my fur, feeling its weight settle against my heart. "And I give you this," I replied, pulling a smooth stone from my satchel, its surface etched with the sigil of my clan. "It will guide you when the moon is hidden, and remind you that you are never truly alone." He took the stone, his fingers brushing mine, and for a moment the world seemed to pause. The fireflies danced around us, their lights flickering like tiny lanterns, and the night air hummed with a promise. Days turned into weeks. We evaded the hunters who scoured the forest for the relic, using my shape-shifting abilities to blend with shadows, to become mist, to slip through cracks in stone. Kale's sword, once stained with his own blood, now gleamed with a new purpose, protecting, not destroying. One evening, as we rested near a waterfall that sang of ancient power, Keek, my companion, appeared, his eyes wide with awe. "You have changed," he said, his voice reverent. "The darkness that once clung to you has softened." Kale smiled, a genuine warmth spreading across his face. "It is because of her," he said, nodding toward me. "She taught me that love is not a weakness but a shield." I felt a surge of pride, a fierce protectiveness that made my claws itch. I had always been the predator, the lone hunter of the night. Now I was something else, a guardian, a lover, a partner. The night we finally reached the hidden valley where the relic was said to rest, the air was thick with magic. The valley was a cradle of crystal cliffs, waterfalls that glowed with an inner light, and a lake that mirrored the stars. At the center of the lake stood a pedestal of obsidian, upon which rested a small, humming crystal, the relic. Its light pulsed like a heartbeat, casting ripples across the water. Kale stepped forward, his hand hovering over the crystal. "This is what I was sent to retrieve," he said, his voice trembling with a mixture of duty and desire. I placed my paw on his arm, feeling the steady thrum of his heart. "We have come this far together," I said. "What will you do with it?" He looked at me, eyes reflecting the crystal's glow. "I will use it to heal the wounds of my kingdom, to end the war that has torn my people apart, but I will not let it consume me. With you by my side, I will wield it wisely." The crystal's light intensified, bathing us in a soft, silver radiance. I felt a surge of energy flow through my veins, mingling with the ancient magic of the forest. The relic recognized the bond we shared, the love forged in fire and blood, and accepted us as its guardians. As we lifted the crystal together, the valley erupted in a chorus of wind and water, the sound of the world acknowledging our pact. The relic's power surged, healing the scarred land around us, turning wilted trees green, calming restless streams. Kale turned to me, his eyes shining with unshed tears. "We have done it," he whispered. "We have changed the fate of many, and yet we have found each other." I pressed my forehead against his, feeling the warmth of his breath, the steady rhythm of his heart. "We are more than the sum of our pasts," I replied. "We are the night and the dawn, the storm and the calm." From that day forward, we ruled not as king and queen, but as protectors of the forest and its secrets. The relic became a beacon of hope, its light guiding lost travelers, its power mending broken hearts. Our love, once forbidden and fierce, grew into something enduring. We fought side by side against those who would seek to claim the relic for selfish ends, our bond a shield that no blade could pierce. Years passed, and the forest whispered our names among the leaves. Children of the realm would speak of the night shapeshifter and the wounded warrior who turned a cursed relic into a source of life. Even now, when the moon hangs low and the silver ferns sway, I feel his presence beside me, his hand warm against my fur, his breath a promise that the darkness will never claim us again. The forest still holds its breath at times, but now it does so in reverence, honoring the love that blossomed beneath its canopy, a love forged in fire, sealed in blood, and forever bound by the night.